Good evening and welcome to My Culture, My Pride on Top Christ Radio and Television, where your matter now we own. My name na Princess, and today we will talk about World Hausa Day on top the show. World Hausa Day na that day wey they celebrate August 26 every year to celebrate language wey more than 30 million people inside Nigeria, Niger, Ghana, Indonesia, and lots of other countries they speak. In short, from what we been here now, say for some parts of West Africa, the way English now our lingua franca for Nigeria, Hausa na be their own lingua franca. Now, they never officially put on say make we celebrate World Hausa Day, but academicians, people out the world, those ones that wait on social media, that they use this August 26 every year to celebrate World Hausa Day. Before we go bring in the person who will follow you on the matter and take a very short break, let me give you a little background of what really happened and how this day come about. Now, Tori person for BBC Hausa Service, Abdulbaki Aliyu Jari, now he started to celebrate World Hausa Day on August 26 in the year 2015, making it 10 years now. And the idea now to promote the Hausa language, to use this language online, and also increase the awareness on top the history, the challenges, the importance, and the achievements of the Hausa language. In a word, Jari been suggest say those ones that we go take celebrate this day, make them use the Hausa language for their social media, either to post all this adage or wise sayings, or bring up new Hausa words so that it go take work for ideas and technology. And say those ones will participate in the celebration, make them share pictures of the Hausa traditions and culture. I'm not alone on top of the show for this matter. I get a wonderful man, a historian, person who know history where we say go follow us to talk more about this celebration. I beg, make all of us join hands together. Make we welcome Muhammad Fatu Mustafa, will be historian and Sabiman on top media work. Oga Muhammad, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, you are welcome.
All right. So you don't say the person who would follow talk. Sharp, make we take a very short break. When we come back, we will jump straight into the matter for ground. No go anywhere, we dey come back now. Welcome back to the show. If you watch us live on top our YouTube and even our Facebook at Christ Radio TV. Happy World Hausa Day to all the Hausa-speaking countries and people today. Now, coming back into the studio, Oga Fatuhu, quickly, you get one or two questions, then we'll get to discuss on top of the matter. Now, in the course of my research, like I even first talk, they say a lot of countries and a lot of people, they speak this language. You fit, first of all, give us a little background history on top of the Hausa language and this talk of, say, plenty countries, they speak how it come about.
The Hausa language, as you know it, there are so many arguments in relation with the origin of Hausa language, how it all started. There is a popular perspective that it belongs to Congo-Chadic group of language, which include Ashanti, will include Swahili, and some of them. So because they have the same roots. Mm-hmm. There is another argument that originally Hausa was the outcome of classical Arabic. Those who are arguing from that perspective, they pointed to the fact that the Hausa pronoun largely, they are the same with that of Arabic. For example, Kitabaka, his book, but Kitabaka, littafinka. So the ka, which identify the possession, is the same thing in Arabic and Hausa. Kitabuhu, littafinsu, their books. The who and the su is rather the same. And also there is another angle, kitabaki, littafinki. her books. The something, the key, ki, which signified the female possession, also is also the something in both Arabic and Hausa. Some are pointing to the fact that most of the words that we are thinking that they are borrowed from Arabic, they are not borrowed. They are originally Hausa words, but from the ancient or lost Arabic dialect. That's why you find a lot of Arabic words. For example, if you said the space or the sky or above us, on top of us, it is Arabic, sama, sama'u. In Hausa, sama. Some think that it is borrowed from Arabic, but our argument is, if it is borrowed from Arabic, what is the original word? Because you cannot tell me that Hausa man has a name of stars, taurari, moon, water, and he don't have the name of where they are. It is not possible. So there is that argument also. There is another argument that it originated from Ethiopia since pre-Christian Ethiopian era.
Okay.
Some pointed to the fact that the mode of pre-Islamic worship in Hausa land look exactly the something with Ethiopian. They were both worshiping a sun. There was a sun worship. There was a river goddess they were worshiping, and so on. So they pointed to that the original Hausa mode of worshiping before the advent of Islam in Hausa land were the same with people in Amharic in Ethiopia. In fact, scholars like Mala Nasir Kabara of blessed memory, he said that the Dala hill in Kano derive its name from Dahalak Island in Ethiopia. So there is that argument also. So there are so many perspectives about the origin of the language.
Okay, sorry, if let me just cut you. So if we talk this matter, Hausa no be originally Nigerian language, now borrowed something.
Because that is one perspective.
Okay, so I tell reach us here.
That is one perspective that as a result of migration. There is even a foreign invader theory which is popularized. For example, the Bayajidda angle, which I totally disagree with. Because some people are saying that a prince of Baghdad revolted against his father, took his army, moved from, migrated from Baghdad, Iraq now, and he was moving up to the time he reached Hausa land. He first settled in Borno, and later he came to Hausa land and settled first in Garangabas, which is Hadija now, and later he moved to Daura, and now he killed their ancient god, which is a snake which they were worshipping, and he conquered the whole Daura, and later he sent his children to. But in that, there are so many unanswered questions about that issue. That because if you look at it, when the first Islam did not fight to dominate Baghdad, Islam created Baghdad. It was created by Umayyad rulers who were descendants of the Prophet. They don't want to stay in or to live in the same place where their arch rivals, the Umayyad dynasty. They don't want the capital of the Umayyad dynasty, which is Sham in Syria now. So they moved from there to they created their own new capital, which is Baghdad. And the first king was Allah Sapa, then Ma'mun, then Hadi, then the Abu Jafar al-Mansur, up to the last one, who was killed by Genghis Khan, son, Kublai Khan. So for all these years, over 100 years they have been ruling. There was no time when Islam arrived in Baghdad. Islam created Baghdad. So how can there be a king? And what we ask is, because they said his original name was Abu Yazid, Makhalid ibn Qaidar az-Ziniyati. All this, yeah, the Bayajidda. Abu Yazid was his original name. If Abu Yazid was his original name, then who was his father among all the kings? Because we know them all. And if you look at the time, it happened that the last king, Mutawakkil Billah, was killed by Mongols invasion, the Duaran Mongols invasion of Baghdad. They destroyed the city. They killed about 300,000 people. That they massacred them, and they conquered the city. Now, at that time, that event happened around 12th century, which was about 200 years after the so-called first son of Bayaji the Bagauda was in Kano. He even died then, by then. So if you look at that, you can see that there are so many misconceptions, there are so many misgivings about the story, which maybe eventually will come to the origin of the story and how it emerged, because we understand that it was a colonial revisionist attempt to revision the Hausa history, the origin of Hausa history. There are so many reasons why colonial want to push that angle.
So to historians, how did Hausa come about? The Hausa language, how did it come about? And then how did it become one of the official languages in Nigeria?
Okay, what we believe is that Hausa are native that region. They are a result of Sahara desiccation, maybe about 3,000 or 4,000 years. There were so many tribes living around the Sahara when it was an ocean, before it desiccated to become a desert. Now, if you look at that, there is so many of them were moving into hinterland, looking for a greener pasture for various reasons, academic reasons, agricultural reasons, agrarian reasons, and also for security reasons. We had about 2,000 years, according to the song of Bagauda, Wakar Bagauda, that Wakar Bagauda, let me digress a little, is one of the few sources of northern Nigeria or Hausa history which we believe is native. It was written by a native Hausa man.
So
the rest,
yes,
Wakar Bagauda. It is one of the source of Hausa history which we believe it was written by a Hausa man. One of the few. There may be others, but largely Hausa history was written, not oral, written one, was a product of largely Arabs, Fulani, like me, like us, Fulani, and also Europeans.
Okay.
So everybody was creating a Hausa history based on his needs, based on his vested interest, to justify what he's doing, to do what he want to do. So there were so many times when foreign clan or foreign tribes overallowed themselves over Hausa, like the Bayaji, the legend. I have no doubt there was a time when Daura was the most powerful Hausa state. I have no doubt about that. But the question is, if you said somebody in Daura appointed somebody to come and rule Kano at that time, where according to history it was 999, that was when Bagoda came to Kano. For example, when Guguma was sent to Katsina, when whoever was sent to Zaria, and so on. Now the question is, which Kano? Kano was just a shrine 1,000 years ago, was not a city. The city was Santolo. Kano was just a shrine, it is just a collection of, it's a worship center. It was a sacred land. There are virgin worshippers who are in Bompai, on top of Bompai Mount Hill. There are some Burbura Mount worshippers who are spirit worshippers who are worshipping the spirit of the Burbura there. There are water, there is a certain water goddess they were worshipping in Jakara, and so on. So it's a collection of so many, what do you call it? So many goddesses and gods.
Gods and
They are, yes, worshipping, and yes, so many cults. The Venus cults are the one I'm telling you. They are worshipping Virgin and what have you in a Bompai area. So the top one was in Dala Hill. That's why the two. Now the question you will ask yourself is why another group of Hausa people came to Kano in the name of Abagawa, attack the system of worship, the religion of the native Kanawa at that time, led by Bagauda, who they banished and ran to Kazauri. He died there. It was his progeny who had it in their mind that one day they will come back to Kano and conquer the city.
And was
But
that what
conquered it. And that's what happened during, I think, Dauda Abasama. It was it was his great grandson who came back to Kano and took it by force.
All right.
So there are so many things. And even if you said, okay, he sent somebody to Katsina, which Katsina? There was no Katsina at that time. What we have was Dirbutakushi, which is 45 kilometers now away from Katsina. Dirbutakushi was the original city, was where the rulers are. That was where Korau came and killed his arch rival Mashidi. So, and he became the first Hausa king of Katsina.
Okay. Now, but in history now, how many countries and how many tribes, how many people they actually speak this Hausa language?
Now, in a rough estimate, there are over, from Kano to Mauritania, there are over 70 million Hausa speakers.
Is it this same Hausa of Inazua, Jeka, this same Hausa?
No. There are real Hausa speakers. You understand?
Yeah.
You know, Hausa consists of so many dialects. For example, if you listen to Kano people, Kano person speaking Hausa, it's not that something with Sokoto dialect or the Katsina dialect, or but this group is one group of Hausa people. There are Hausas in Niger. You understand? They are calling themselves, they were even claiming that they were original Hausa Bakwe, because they are calling themselves Osabakinka. So Zabakinka, there is a group of 7 Hausa under the Magaram now. The Magaram is just not more than 200 years, so you know that. But Zamria, Dingas, Magaria, Medamusa, Kolorikolo, and Guri. They are 7, and they are claiming that they are the original 7 Hausa state. Not that the Urakas and Gramka,
They are saying they are the
they were the original Hausa Bakwe.
Yes, not the
Hausa state.
Bakwe.
Not this Hausa Bakwe, Banda Bakwe.
Yes.
Because even in that Hausa Bakwe, Banda Bakwe, you are talking about, because how can you prove to the people that Zampara were not originally Hausa? Zampara is part of Banda Bakwe. How can they not be part of Hausa? How can you tell me that Kevi? But, and also, this is another problem, the creation of Kevi. Kevi was created about 500 years after all that happened. It was created by Kanta, who was living in Gungu, moved to, then later he created Burning Kebi, and later Fulani took it over, and after Gwandu collapsed, now they moved, now the emir of Gwandu is now in Burning Kebi. As a result, they moved to and created Argungu. So the original Kanta family are living in Argungu, while the Fulani emir of Gwandu, who was the second most important emir after the Sultan, he's in Burning Kebi. But if you look at it, Kanta came 500 years after all this, what we are talking about, Daura has happened. How can he be part of how can Kebi be part of Hausa Banda Bokwe? It was just a later creation. So, me, I believe that Hausa, like, there was a book, let me remember, it is and it is an Arabic book we found in Egypt about a letter sent to Ahmad Baba al-Timbuktu. Ahmad Baba al-Timbuktu was one of the most knowledgeable scholars in Africa then, about 500 years ago or 600 years ago. Ahmad Baba was a repository of knowledge, and his great-grandfather living in Katsina and Kano was Umar al-Aqid. Umar al-Aqid is what Katsina call Walid and Takuma.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a chief judge in Kano, and later he moved to Katsina, and he came from Timbuktu. So Ahmad Baba was his grandson, and he has that knowledge. He was a very knowledgeable and a scholar of international repute. Most of his books written were very insight about the history of Africa, sometimes back. Now in his Al-Kashaf Warban, Fi Mujallabal Suud, one scholar from Morocco sent him a letter asking him about black slaves who are coming from Hausa land. So he was asking him about their status. How are they going to treat them? Because they are claiming they are Muslims and it's not allowed to enslave a Muslim. So he said, okay, if that is the case. So he told him that Hausa land consists of Kano, Katsina, Zazzau, Borno. That is where,
These are
yeah,
the
the
original
original Hausa
houses.
state, according to Ahmad Baba al-Timbuktu. He said all this and so on. But if not for inclusion of Borno, we can say that, of course, he was right. They are the original Hausa state. Houses created because there was a lack of central government in Hausa state. So they are city state. For thousands of years, they have been living like that. Though there was an internal war between Kano and Katsina, Kano and Zazzau, Kanta, and so on, they have come and fight among themselves. And even later, when Gobrawa came, Gobrawa are claiming that they are descendant of Coptics from Egypt. So they live in Sahara for many years before they moved to Al-Qalawa in Zamfara. And later, they took away Zamfara by force and become the most powerful state in Hausa states. So whatever the case may be, to me, I believe they are native there.
Houses.
And if you look at from a scientific perspective, mitochondrial DNA, what they call Eves of Africa, they believe that sub-Saharan Africa was the origin
Of Hausa.
of man.
Okay,
Of man.
man.
Yes,
Sub-Saharan
of course,
Africa.
sub-Saharan Africa, because of the issue of mitochondrial DNA, which they call in a literal English the Eves of Africa. There is that perspective. So they believe that sub-Saharan Africa, originally man started to live in sub-Saharan Africa. And looking at different societies living in this area, you will believe that there was a time when it was a citadel of human civilization for quite a long time. Maybe it is a lost civilization long time ago. So that is, to me, that is what I believe.
Okay.
That I don't believe in that foreign invader theory where just one hero moved from somewhere, came to this area, created this and do that.
Okay.
No.
Okay, now, but right now, you think, say, the Hausa language, they improve, or if you say you don't, they decline? Like, is it still well-spoken? Is it still as popular as it's supposed to be? Now, this question stands with also the fact that they say it be the 11th most spoken language in the world, and by the year 2050, it will even rank higher. Do you agree with that? But do you also think, say, the language now, don't they lose? Like, it is going into extinction?
Well, there is good news and bad news.
Okay.
There is these two issues, which they are always contradicting. Now, if you look at it, there are, as I told you, 70 to 80 million native Hausa speakers from Kano to Mauritania. There are Hausas scattered all over. And they develop a different dialect. Some even lost their dialect, lost their language, but they are still Hausas. Like Gnawa in Morocco. Gnawa in Morocco is a ethnic group. They cannot speak Hausa. But the origin of the Gnawa is Kanawa. They were people from Kano. You understand?
Yes.
There is one tribe in India. What is the name of that tribe? I forgot, but maybe before you finish, if I remember. Yes, of course, they are tracing their origin to Kano. You understand?
Yes, I
they
do.
They are still there. They are worshiping one Babakur. And when I traced the history of who was that Babakur, I came across one of those top scholars who the Hausa scholar who live in Hijaz, Saudi Arabia now. He lived some times at the times of. He was met by Muhammad al-Kashinawi. Muhammad al-Kashinawi was a Katsina scholar who was one of the top world mathematicians of his time then. Yeah, he died in Egypt in 17th century. He lived there in Egypt. Probably it was that Babakur who journey and what
around,
have you.
yes.
Yeah, in his odyssey, he
Drop
found
those
himself
ones
in
in
India, and he stayed there, and maybe, but they are tracing their origin to Hausa land also. So you can see that, and also there are over 30 million Hausa in diaspora. So if you think Hausa is going down, no. It is expanding.
Then in Nigeria, the language itself, is it still?
The language is what, yes, of course, the language is ever expanding. Many of our children today, they can speak Hausa, but one thing which is disturbing is many of them cannot write Hausa, cannot read Hausa, but they can speak it because it is their parent language. It is the language they are instructed in their early life, and even their religion, because predominantly Hausa are Muslims. So when they started education, Islamic education, it is through Hausa language.
Yeah.
So even in our churches, almost all the northern churches, if not in Benue and some part of Kogi, they are using Hausa language as a language of instruction.
True.
So when missionaries like Mila, like Bajari, like Togwell, and many of them came, they understand that Hausa, when it comes to Hausa man, when it comes to language, he's very conservative. He's very conservative as far as language is concerned. So they understand that the best way is to go back and learn Hausa. Learn how to speak Hausa and come back. And even it is part of the colonial policy that you cannot work in northern Nigeria unless you have it, you learn Hausa for 1 year. So that's why they opened a department in School of Oriental and African Studies, which is still working. That where they are teaching colonial officers Hausa. That was then, and it is still there. And if you look at number of universities world over teaching Hausa language, including Harvard, including Oxford,
they
including
teach Hausa
Cambridge.
language.
Yes, they are teaching Hausa language. And they have big scholars. Think about scholars like Ruzer Shush, scholars like Graham Farnis, who are in a School of Oriental African Studies, University of London. So scholars like in Germany, also University of Cologne, also they have Hausa department.
Is it just to digress, is it just for the Hausa language or for even other of our languages in Nigeria?
No, it is Hausa, Department of Hausa language.
So meaning Hausa not be just in a Nigerian language, it actually translated and it is very, very important in other places.
Since even before the advent of colonialism, Hausa has been an international language. Because Hausa man is a conservative when it comes to language. He don't, he hardly forgo his language. So if you want to communicate or deal with him in his own language. That's why you can see that even when currency was introduced in northern Nigeria, they have to include Hausa. That's why even when Islam came, despite how conservative he is as far as religion is concerned, he believes Islam is his religion, but they have to introduce Ajami, which is Arabic in Hausa. So you can see that it is Arabic writing, but it is Hausa
translated.
Yeah. So most of this happened. Even when in 1930s, when colonial government decided to start creating Hausa, modern Hausa literature, they understand that if they bring Western novels, people will not read. So what is best to do is to introduce Hausa novels, but in English novel in Hausa. So that's how they came. Out of over 38 stories in Magana Jari, which was beginning, was the first. Yeah, no, Ruambagaja was the first, but even Ruambagaja was an Arabic, was an Arabic Makamat al-Hariri.
Yes.
He translated it to Ruambagaja.
Oh.
You understand? The other was time when Puden, not Puden, Stanislaw was a professor in university, is a professor in University of Warsaw, Poland. He did his PhD on Magana Jari. And he traced the stories. Out of the over 30-something stories collected in that volume 1 to 3, about 30 translation from other books. Now, even Iliad and Mekarpi was a Russian story translated into Hausa. So there are so many of such. Now they understand the mindset of Hausa man is that his language matters and he will never forgo it.
Okay, now, English is our lingua franca. And most times they will say, no matter how you know your language, sabi English too. So do you think this idea of make you sabi English, globalization of the English language, it gets any effects on the Hausa language relevance? And do you think, like, let's talk present generation now. You get like you're talking, yes, conservative. Everybody knows it to talk with Hausa person, know their language, you can get much from them. Still stand up to today? Or is the fact of civilization, social media, reducing that pureness, you know, of the Hausa language?
That is one thing about how Hausa survive, because it always adapt with changing times. That is one thing about it. Once you bring something to Hausa man, or a new idea or a new language, he will look at the way that he will Hausanize it. That is it. For example, listen to most of these Indian songs, which are popular among Hausas. What a typical Hausaman is saying is totally different from what Indian is saying. He is saying it based on his language. You understand? The one example is Don. You know Don?
Yeah.
Don, Amitabh Bachchan,
Yeah,
Zinat
yes,
Aman, and
Bachchan,
what have you.
and then
Yeah,
Shah Rukh Khan.
there is one that, not the Shah Rukh Khan
Okay,
one,
the Amitabh Bachchan
one.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, it was very popular in Hausa and
Yes,
in
when
Hausa
we're
cinema.
much younger.
Yeah, in
Yes,
Hausa cinema
yes.
and so on. There is that song Mehudon.
Yes, Mehudan,
Yeah.
Mehudan,
Now,
Mehu,
ask
Mehu,
a
Mehu,
typical
Mehudan.
Hausa man, what is he saying? He will say that Hari Kichi Banu. You understand?
Yes.
But what he's saying is Are Diwanu. Are Diwanu. Not Hari Kichi Banu. But someone is that is what he's saying. Sometimes he will even translate it into Hausa, whether it is a real translation, which is just based on his what he understands. You understand?
Yes.
So that is one thing about Hausa man. Now, when, for example, let me give you some words.
Please,
Why Hausa survive? Because if you bring words, for example, when Europeans introduce currency, let me go back to currency again. When he introduced currency, that currency, he came with a fence, sixpence.
Okay,
Sixpence. Sixpence.
Yes.
This is what Hausa man calls Sisi.
Oh.
Sisi is sixpence. That's what Hausa man calls Sisi. Sile, which is Tankwabo, is what you call shilling. It's shilling. Now Hausa man call it Sile. You understand? When a military is introduced, officer, rather than to say officer, he will say Hafsa. That's why you hear Babang Hafsa Sujuji. Hafsa means officer. Private, he call it Karabiti. Public Service Department, he call it PWD. That is how someone or always you will consume your words, whatever you bring, whatever you think, when you bring it, how someone will find a way that of Hausanizing it. Even if it will go with the some turn everything like carrots. When carrot was introduced, rather than he will not say the T, so he will say carrots. You understand? He don't have lemon. When it was introduced, he just call it lemu. So when cars were introduced, he look at them, give them names, give them all this. So sometimes you will like a tangwil, you call it tangwil. You understand? Yeah. So this is what make house always rich. It adopt and go with the time, because you will not, no matter what, forgo his language.
So you think Hausa will never disappear?
Yeah, even politically, you can see Western propaganda, Western whatever. they have to, if they want to reach Hausa land, they have to reach them through their language. That's why BBC Hausa was created in London. That's why there is Voice of America in Washington. That is why there is Turkish radio in Turkey. Hausa, yeah.
Yes.
That is why there is Radio Hausa Beijing, Radio Hausa Moscow, and all this. So you can see that even media propaganda, you cannot do your propaganda in that language. You have to. That's why even if you went to places like Saudi for Hajj, you will see that after Arabic, English, French, then they will write in Hausa. So it is not, even if Hausa will extinct, I doubt much if it will be possible in this millennium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, may we come to the celebration itself. August 26, World Hausa Day. How come no much noise about it? If not be say, Katsina State, stand up now to talk this one, even bring am for news, say they be celebrating it. But this time, the state government, they involve inside the celebration, they come loud, the matter news come carry am. So and now my organizer, I say, okay, make myself also, you know, talk about why is there no much noise about this celebration? And what will be the significance of World Hausa Day actually?
Okay. Before this Hausa Day, there was a time when every university, every polytechnic, largely, especially Ahmadu Bello, Bayero University, Usman Danfodio, they were celebrating Hausa weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, they will celebrate Hausa week. Hausa student of Hausa department will organize it, and our traditional rulers, our musicians, and what have you, they patronize it.
In schools?
In schools. And even later on, some polytechnics and the colleges of education also joined, they were doing it. So it was recognized then. But to come to the open and be a standalone celebration, it is that Baki who introduced it in 2015.
Yes.
And since then it has been celebrated every year. So it is not something new, of course, but now it is in the open. Because I know that when on that occasion, severally, you will see some big musicians like Barmana Chugi, Shata, Dangwero, and so on. They were invited. You will see some big emirs and traditional rulers and others who going there to deliver lectures, to attend the occasions and what have you.
In the schools?
Yes, in the schools, especially Ahmad Bello, Danfodio, and Bayero. These three, of course, I know that it is an annual event. But because of economic factors and what have you, now it has gone down. But now, and also the coming of social media. Also.
Yes.
So the coming of social media, all the activities move there. And that is where it is mostly celebrated. So it is just the beginning. 2015 to date, you are talking about 10 years.
Yes,
so a decade of this celebration. And it is only now that some states started to recognize the fact that, of course, there is need. Especially a state like Katsina, which has a Hausa origin. In fact, before the advent of colonialism, in Europe, Katsina was called the Athens of Hausa land.
Wow.
Because of the number of scholars living inside Katsina. Because it was the most popular Hausa state, even more popular than Kano. Kano became popular later. But Katsina was the most popular, was the richest, was the most powerful then, before, but due to some political issues and internal crisis in Katsina, that's why it collapsed or it go down and Kano took over. Because of the position of Kano, it is at the center. It is not easy to attack Kano from any angle because it is like it is at the middle of Hausa land.
Yes.
So that's why it is not easy for outsider to invade it. But Katsina was at the border, and it has a crisis. That's why it is divided into three. Gusau was Katsina state. It was Katsina then.
Gusau is not in
Yes, Gusau, yeah, that's why he's called Sarkin Katsina Gusau.
Oh.
You understand?
Yes.
Because it was Katsina then before Jihad of Danfodio. And also there is Katsina proper, which is Katsina of today. And there is Maradi. That's why he's called Sarkin Katsina Maradi in Niger.
Niger.
Yeah. So the original rulers of Katsina are now in Maradi. The original houses rulers before the Fulani. The Fulani rulers are now in Katsina, the Katsina floor. Like what happened to Zaria or to Zazzau. Zazzau was something, Zazzau was up to Abuja, it was Zazzau. But later, because of the Fulani Jad, the original house of Zazzau now are in Suleja, which was the original Abuja. You understand?
Yes.
So to say that the significance of all this, what do you call it, the celebration, of course, it is very significant. It is about identity. It is about a sense of belonging. You know, there are houses, the original houses, like the Kutumbawa, like the Dumawa, like Kismawa, like Kulawa, like so many other tribes which are original Hausa.
But they're all celebrating today.
Yes, of course, those who are aware, because that is one issue. That is one of the shortcomings. That awareness. It is a Western-oriented idea.
Oh.
I'm telling you. That's why if you ask a typical Hausa man or a typical man in the street, that are you aware that this is, I assure you that 70% are not aware.
So what can
But go to social media, because the middle class are there, so they are all aware. You will see the way they are celebrating, or we are celebrating. Even so you can see that, sincerely speaking, there is much desire to be done in order to make it more conventional, more acceptable, and even official. But as at now, it is loose, it is open, it is for everybody to do, so everybody is doing it as he wish. I don't know if as at now some universities and Polytechnic College of Education also accepted August 26 as
World Hausa.
Yeah, because it is something that we are battling with, which is the official Hausa. Which is the official Hausa? Is it Kano Hausa? Is it Katsina Hausa? Is it Sokoto Hausa? Is it Zazzau Hausa? So on. I know that there was an attempt in 1962. Samad Bello asked the Sardauna, form a committee to look at which will be the standard Hausa, which will be acceptable. And at the end of it, they said they choose Kano Hausa as a Kano dialect.
That's the Hausa
because
we all understand.
That's why you will hear that all over the world, it is Hausa, it's a Kano dialect, which is accepted. Because it accepts more changes. And it is modernized. And you know, Kano is a cosmopolitan, it is cosmopolitan nature, and it is a melting pot of culture. Many cultures came to Kano and melted. So it is just like a melting pot. You will see, you will have Arabs who are now natives of Kano. You understand?
Yes.
Like original people living in quarters like Alfundiki. Alfundiki means Alfunduk. Alfunduk means hotel. You can see where it is. Like Alcantara. Alcantara means Alcantar. Alcantar means a bridge. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are so many such. They are originally, you can see areas like Zango Bari and Malanganari. They were originally people from Kano. And now they are native of Kano. For example, if you ask Abacha, a Kanuri man, but he never claimed Borno. He's always claiming Kano because even his father was born in Kano. Like Abdul Samad Ishakara is a Bua, the popular Bua you know of today. They are Kanuri, but they are Kanawa. They have nowhere to go with Kano. They are people of Kano, and they accepted that, and they believe that they are Kanawa. You understand? Yeah. So there are also even you will be surprised. There are Igbo Hausa who are now you cannot see that they are not Hausa. No way. But they originally Igbos. Yes, but Kano already accepted them. They are today Hausa people, typical Hausa people. They cannot even speak Igbo. They even forget about their root.
Language.
And there are there are Yoruba Hausas also in Kano.
True, sir.
This,
okay, because of time, just one last question. Now, somebody said that this World Hausa Day supposed become big event where they go recognize internationally so that people from far and wide feel they travel. Like how you go for tourists, you know, how you go for different, like Calabar Carnival, like Oju de Oba Festival. Say, this World Hausa Day supposed to be like that. Do you agree that it should be world recognized?
of course, but there are so many constraints in relation with that. That's what I'm saying. That we have to agree that we have an identity and we have a collective responsibility to protect that identity. We have to agree on that. That, okay, we agree our traditional rulers, who are the custodian of our cultures, our elders, who are also a custodian of our cultures, and our people, the masses, we, and whoever you are, whether you are Hausa Fulani, whether you are typical Hausa, whether you are Fulani, we all agree that we are Hausas. No matter what, no matter how, we are all Hausas. That is our identity. If you don't take it, world has recognized you as a Hausa man. So this is your identity. So we need to do something to make it official. We need to push, because even if we cannot push it nationally, we can push it through our state assemblies. That Nigeria need to do that. We can also appeal to UNICEF, which is responsible, world body, yes, because it is about culture and
yes, UNESCO.
Yeah, UNESCO. I mean, not UNICEF, UNESCO. Yes, UNESCO. It is about culture. So this Hausa, this is one of the second most popular language in Africa, which is even recognized because after Swahili, even now some are saying that Hausa has overtaken Swahili
as the most recognized
yes,
language
of course,
in Africa.
Because if you see the way it is recognized world over, and the way it is expanding, and the way it is, it is literary language.
Yes.
Because since 16th century, no, 15th, they started writing in Hausa, and there were so many books written in Hausa, even in 16th centuries.
Yeah.
And one funny thing about it is that even at that time there was a communication between some Hausa scholars in Katsina and some Yoruba scholars there in Ifi, Ile Ifi. Even that time, because we come across a letter written by the Masani to one. In fact, he was the first person who wrote the history of Yoruba as a Harar Rubapi Akawaru Yoruba. The book is lost now. Nobody can find it, but we find a reference to the book in so many writings, pre-colonial writings.
Okay, sorry, you need to, because of time, we need to end up. But final words on World Hausa Day today.
Well, what I would say is I wish them good luck, or I wish us good luck. And I hope that one day it will be recognized not only in our state, not only in Nigeria, but internationally recognized of celebration. Okay. That is my view. That is my our prayer.
Thank you so much, Oga Muhammad Fatuhu Mustafa, for this wonderful time. And yes, that's my guest. And our topic today, now World Hausa Day. We talk about the history, we talk about the importance, we talk about the challenges and even the achievements of the Hausa language. I hope so you don't learn a lot from the show today. But if you want to watch this program again, or you want to follow us again, just go for our YouTube and even our Facebook at Christ Said Radio TV, and you'll get the opportunity to rewatch and re-listen to this program. Until we come your way again, make we just say Happy World Hausa Day to all the celebrants, and make we pray, say this one go follow put Nigeria and our wonderful languages for the world map, as we take the ginger other languages, other cultures, and other tribes to follow this example, celebrate their own languages with pride and loudness. My name na Princess Anyana. See you on another episode of My Culture, My Pride. Thank you. So you enjoyed the show with us. Bye for now.